know what your number one reason is for not having kids.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. So today's topic is a straightforward one. What is your number one reason for not having kids? So this woman asked a question and a lot of people stitched her video. So I'll let her video play as well as the stitches. Then at the end, I'll leave my own comment. Please stick around.
I want to know what your number one reason is for not having kids. You don't owe anybody an explanation. You don't owe me an explanation, but I'm always intrigued if people are up for the conversation, what their number one reason is. For me, my number one reason is I love being alone. And ironically, people use that as a threat. Like, you're going to be so lonely, you're going to be all alone. I really love my time to myself. I'm a pretty independent person. Ever since I was a kid, I have really loved kind of the solitude of being by myself. And I know that if I was to have a kid, at least for the first number of years, that's really going to be impacted. And I just simply don't want that. So that is my number one reason. I love being alone. I'm interested to know what yours would be.
My number one reason for not wanting kids is because I am a highly sensitive person. And so if I were to become a mom, it would be a challenge for me. I wouldn't trust anyone around my kid. I would shelter my kid from everything, and I would be very overprotective, very overprotective. And I know that's not healthy, but I know myself. I feel every single emotion that runs through my body. I wouldn't trust my kid going to school for 7 hours. I wouldn't trust my kid going anywhere without me. And why? I wouldn't want my kid to live like that. I wouldn't even want to live like that because I wouldn't be able to relax. I would be constantly on edge, like, where's my kid? No, like, why would I put myself through that? And then, God forbid, anything bad happens to the kid, I would delete myself expeditiously.
I want to know what your number one reason is for not having kids.
So basically, I would love my kids, but I would not love my life as a mom. And that has nothing to do with the partner or the guy that you choose to procreate with, but just for who I am as a person. I know my bandwidth. Okay. I'm an introvert who needs a lot of downtime, a lot. Like if I go out one weekend, I'm not socializing until maybe 2 weekends after that. Right. And being a parent, that's a full-time job, and it doesn't just end at 18 years. It can just, carry on if you want to be, in my opinion, there for your kids through everything. So it's just like, no, I think I would just be stretched too thin. Like maintaining different friendships, a social life, a full-time job, and hopefully a relationship at some point, a healthy one, that takes time and energy to make sure that all those relationships are good, that I don't have the time after a long day at work to be coming home to a mess. Because kids are kids, or to be coming home and doing homework. Like, I just don't. I would love my kid down, okay, unconditionally, but I wouldn't love my life, okay? And you can't just stop being a mom. I see that as a job that requires so much effort and energy. It's one of the most rewarding jobs, but often you're not rewarded in kind for the amount of effort that you do. That's the whole point. Now my light turning off, ghetto. But that's the whole point. You're supposed to be selfless. You're not doing it to get something back. And I just feel like I would be giving so much, and I just don't have that bandwidth to give.
I want to know what your number one reason is for not having kids.
Yeah, mine is because I can't be a dad. I would have to be a mom. And I don't have any interest in being a mom. But in a different life, when roles were reversed, if I could be a dad instead, I probably would be interested in a kid, maybe two. And I think there's new studies that have come out that have shown that women seem to be obsessive over babies and having families, when really studies show that more men are interested in having children at different times throughout their life than women are overall. And why wouldn't they be? Men get to show up at the very beginning one time, wait 9 months for the baby to come, and then they get to be super dad for playing ball in the park, or going to the grocery store with just them and the kid, or putting a frozen lasagna in the oven and being called super dad. Like, the bar is so incredibly low for dads and so incredibly high for moms that I have no interest in being a mom. I would only have any interest in being a dad.
I want to know what your number one reason is for not having kids.
I do not want to get pregnant, and I do not want to give birth. My partner and I have, of course, talked about it a lot, and if like something were to tragically happen to one of our siblings and our nephews or niece needed a place to go, we would absolutely help raise them. If my partner magically grew a uterus and really wanted to have that experience of having a baby, yeah, I'd be open to that. But I don't actively want to create my own child, and I don't ever want one inside me, and I don't ever want to have to push it out. This year, I finally got a hysterectomy, and I have never been more relieved in my life. Pregnancy has always been one of my biggest fears and having that completely off the table is incredible. If circumstances put me in a position of parenthood at some point, like, that's fine, but I'm never going to be the one pushing one out.
I want to know what your number one reason is for not having kids.
Honestly, they would force me to change my life completely in a way that doesn't feel good to me. I have worked so hard to finally unconditionally love myself and finally feel like I have self-worth. I don't want the hormones to change my body. I don't want the effects of actually raising a human life to change my current existence. I don't want the expense. I don't want the constant worry and fear of helping another life succeed and keeping them safe. I don't want all that burden, that pressure, that stress. Instead, I choose to be child-free, and I recognize that that's a privilege in and of itself, because a lot of people in this world don't have access to birth control, they don't have access to healthcare, they don't have access to all of the above. So I recognize that I can get pregnant, but I opt not to. I have the copper IUD, and instead, I choose to live my life the way it is now. And that is a beautiful thing. And that is why I've created these amazing new child-free collective bracelets that are available on my TikTok shop in solidarity with the community of child-free individuals, because it is a really, really special place in my heart, these bracelets and this community that I have come to know on TikTok. It is so special to just connect with you all and really share our stories of why we're child-free by choice, or those of us who cannot have children and how they've come to accept themselves. So if you're watching this far, go check out my TikTok shop and purchase one of the bracelets for yourself or a loved one in honor of being child-free.
First thing first, deciding whether or not to have kids is one of the most personal choices someone can make. Some people, it's a dream they had forever. For others, it's a question that brings up a mix of emotions, pressure, uncertainty, or even indifference. Where you stand on this topic, it's okay. Everyone's life is different. And listening to these women, I know what some of you might be thinking. That's selfish, or won't they regret later? And I get it. Those are valid concerns. But here is the thing. Living authentically isn't selfish. It's necessary. Regret isn't tied to not having kids. It's tied to not living true to yourself. People would rather focus on building a life filled with meaning, connection, and purpose in their own way. At the end of the day, this isn't about convincing anyone to follow other people's path. It's about showing that there is more than one way to live a fulfilling life. Life is too short to live it for someone else's expectations. What's your number one reason for choosing not to have kids in life? Kindly share in the comment section below. Thank you so much for being part of this conversation. Please don't forget to subscribe, like, and share the video. See you in the next video and stay safe.